An early morning murder at 13 Humberview. Police Constable Michael Caledon picked his way gingerly around the piles of gravel and dirt and dust-covered debris strewn about by the road repair crew. Buffing his black shoes to the proper wattage each morning was his least favorite activity, and he had no intention of wasting the effort in his first call of the day. He parked his patrol car further away than necessary for the same reason, to keep it clean. When the crew started up he looked at his watch, 7 o'clock, only 9 minutes away, there would be plenty of dirt and noise. He'd seen this bunch move in yesterday to rip up the street. So complete was his concentration that he found himself on the little flagstone walk at 13 Humberview before he realized it. That surprise, coupled with its sudden awareness that the old lady was sitting on the porch waiting for him, must have shown on his face, for Mrs. Van Noof explained very sweetly, "I always have my coffee on the porch in this nice weather. Sometimes I even get out before the sun is over those trees. We'll have to go inside today, though. There's not much point in being out here when they start." She waved at the silent machinery on the street. "What do you take in your coffee, young man?" Michael used the 3 short strides up the walk to gather himself. "Good morning." He held out his hand. "I'm here to—" "What do you take in your coffee? I have some muffins, too, that my neighbor made." Michael didn't drink coffee, but how did he say no to such a nice old lady? Just half a cup, please, and milk, lots of milk. That's how." "Excuse me, then. I'll be right back." Mrs. Van Noof got up, shuffled over to the screen door, and went inside. Michael was having real trouble controlling his surprise. The lady was not behaving at all like a bereaved widow. 4 days earlier, in fact at just this time, his watch now said 6:54, her husband had been shot in their bed. He was also surprised by how well she spoke. Mrs. Van Noof was deaf, at least according to Sergeant Cosman. Michael had been sent because he was the best on the force at signing. So far, that skill had been entirely superfluous. His surprise was not diminished at the least when Mrs. Van Noof came back out the door, saying, "No doubt you're wondering how we are able to communicate so easily. Well, I wasn't always deaf, not until my accident 2 years ago. Here's your coffee, Constable. I can sign. Are you the one they said would come because you can sign? There's not much need. I'm pretty good at lips. You get good. You have to. Besides, everybody says the same things to old ladies anyway." Her smile grew even sweeter. Michael was so charmed he was almost able to ignore the taste of coffee. "My other little trick." She lowered her voice considerably. "Now don't you tell anybody, Constable." Her smile grew wider and even more irresistible. "My other little trick is, I do all the talking. People don't mind if old ladies prattle on, now do they? Now you want to know all about poor Alvin, don't you? I don't know why. I told those other nice policemen everything. Poor Alvin. We were only married 3 years, you see. He was my 3rd husband." Without realizing it, Michael bit into a second muffin. He didn't say a word as Miss Van Noof continued. "It happened when I was having my coffee here, just like this. It was a beautiful day, one of those extra special summer days. You know, clear, quiet, warm. Of course, I couldn't hear the shot. So poor Alvin, with a raucous cough, the first of the diesel engines started out on the street, followed by another, then a third, filling the air with a blend of an aggressive clatter. The operators held the throttles open, not just to warm up the machine, but also to ensure that everyone in hearing distance would be awake to appreciate their effort. Mrs. Van Noof winced. The early morning breeze had brought the enhanced fume onto the porch. "Come," she shouted over the din. "We'll go inside. Would you carry the muffins?" Michael picked up the platter and followed her. How, he thought to himself, how on earth am I going to tell Sergeant Cosman that such a sweet old lady is a liar?
Created using Powtoon.